Hello and welcome to another tutorial where we will be working with some CSS properties. And now in this tutorial we will work with the box shadow, which will allow us to give box shadow, which is that you can give an inside shadow and you can also give an outside shadow. The inside shadow sort of kind of gives you with the combination of inset a raised effect, and you can also give an outside shadow. So we're going to work with both of them so that you could see what we're talking about here. So let's get started with our CSS document, and I'm going to be scrolling back up to my header. So in my header I would want to give my box shadow. So here I am adding a box shadow property, and it requires the kind of bordering and the colors that you would use. You could use any kind of colors. I'm just using dark shade of gray. Then you can use your offsets, X, offset Y, and your blur. So this is the box shadow that I'm applying to my header. So now let me refresh the output so that you could see. Now watch closely the top and the left side. Notice this little bit of a blackish grayish effect that you see in the top and the left, and that's basically happening because of me applying that box shadow. Now let me take care of the box shadow on the right and at the bottom. And you can apply multiple box shadows to the same object. So for example here, all you need to do is put a comma, and then you're going to start the next set of it. So for example, if I want to have an inset, I want to have a white one this time, and I want to have an offset of negative. The negative offset basically falls inwards. So I want to have a -2 pixels, -2 pixels, and 15 pixels blur. So with these properties in place, I'll save the changes, and now keep watching the right side and the bottom. You'll see a sort of kind of a little bit of a whitish effect. Okay. To make it a little bit more evident, let me change the color to red. I'm going to change it back to white so that you can see what I'm talking about. So you see this blur, this reddish color here. This is the area that I'm getting affected. I'm basically applying here. So I'll change it back to white so that you could see this white effect. Now let me remove it so that you could see the difference as well. So you see how crisp these borders are? So this sort of kind of gives you this effect where you can apply the blurriness to the corners. So that's what basically this can do. Box shadow. Similarly, I can apply the box shadow to my home, which is the container in which I have this smiling person CSS effect and this whole region. I can also give a box shadow to that. So what I'll do for this one, I'm going to apply a single box shadow as opposed to having two of them. I'll say inset. The color I want to use is the same as the top one. For red, green, blue, I want to use dark shade of gray. And I want to have a negative pixelation effect here. And as I refresh, you could see, because of the negative one, you could see it applies here and at the bottom. And sort of kind of automatically it gives it a raised effect. So the whole thing has a bit of a raised effect. So it's just a visual thing, you know, it doesn't really raises it. It just applies the effect in the corners, which gives you this raised effect. Now what I'm going to do next is I will going to increase the size of these cells here. So let me go down here where I have my cell. So I'm going to change the width to, let's say, 400 pixels, and I want to change the height to 250 pixels. So currently this is how it appears. Now I want my images to be center aligned within this and leave some sort of space at the top. So I need to go down in my pictures, and I will going to now use the margin property to center align it. So here's my picture, which is center aligned. Okay. Now after that, I will going to leave some space. So padding top, and I'm going to leave 20 pixels. That's going to leave some space right above the picture. Now let me add some shadow to the picture. So box shadow, And this time I'm not going to use any colors. I'll just use a simple offset, just so that you could see what happens when you just use an offset X and offset Y and don't use a color. So it defaults to black. As you can see, it defaults to a black offset. So that's all it does, basically. Now if I would like these particular images to give me some variations of changing my blurring and stuff like that, so I could use colors and I can use negative numbers. So for example, if I want it to be using 127, 127, 127, some sort of a mid-range gray color, and I want it to be a negative 10 pixels and a 15 pixel blur. So notice the shadow actually goes top and on the side. Top and on the side. So that's what basically it does. So I got rid of the padding because the padding, padding was doing was that it was giving the area within the picture. That's why you were seeing that white region there. So instead of going through the padding route, I'm going to go the margin route. So I'll say, okay, I want 20 pixels of a margin. So now you will not going to see that effect that you were seeing before of an extra white space. So that's why with images you got to play around with these properties until you get to see the actual look and feel. So that gives me the box shadow on the image. So this is how you can apply the box shadow to the containers as well as to the images. So in the next tutorial I will going to play a little bit more with the picture effects, and all of these effects can pretty much help you improve the look and feel of your site. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you